Hello and welcome to Bangladesh Today. The topic of discussion in this episode is the status and future of minorities in Bangladesh. Hindus are the largest minority, constituting 9.6% of Bangladesh's population. But with Islamist political formations coming up in the 1990s, Hindus were targeted and attacked on many occasions. Earlier this year, the International War Crimes Tribunal, set up by the Awami League government, indicted several Jamaat members for war crimes against Hindus during the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. Buddhism is the second minority religion in Bangladesh, just 0.7% of the population and mainly concentrated near the Chittagong area. On September 29th, 30th, 2012, Islamists had looted, vandalized and burnt 19 Buddhist temples and monasteries. To discuss the status and future of minorities in a pre-election year, we speak with Dr. Anand Kumar, Associate Fellow at the Institute of Defence Studies and Analysis. Dr. Kumar has worked extensively on Bangladeshi politics and Indo-Bangladesh relations. Welcome to the show. Bangladesh being a Muslim majority nation, how does it maintain its secular character despite great provocation? There are Islamist parties, they have backing of the mainline political parties, and there have been incidents in the past where minorities were targeted, and in spite of that, it's maintained its secular fabric. How has it managed to do this?
The secularism in Bangladesh has been under stress over a period of time, like since partition. We have seen that minorities have faced a lot of problems in that country. Under Pakistan, when it was East Pakistan, they were under tremendous stress, and actually as a result of that, the population of minority has been declining in that country. At the time of partition, 28% of the population was of Hindu. Like Jamaats has been deregistered, election commission says the percent. So it clearly shows like the kind of stress Hindus or the minorities in general have been facing in that country. However, Awami League government and Sheikh Hasina are generally seen as pro minority people, and the life of minorities under their regime has been little easy, but still they have been facing problem in that country.
You say that their population has declined. Is that because of conversions, or have the Hindus left from their exodus of a sort towards India, or towards, is that the reason that it's happened?
See, actually it's both. Large number of Hindus have migrated over a period of time to India. Actually, they have been facing problem in that country, and actually.
Was this before the 1990s or after the 1990s?
It has been happening all through this period, ever since partition happened. Actually, even now Bangladesh has a typical law which is called Vested Property Right Act, which means that if a Hindu goes to India, then a Muslim in that country is entitled to take over his property. So often
the same thing which was there in Pakistan, the enemy property act.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, this is one economic reason why actually the majority Muslims have been interested in driving or sending Hindus to India, and so that they can acquire their property. That is one reason, and unfortunately most of the governments have not acted against it. They have just paid lip service to this. And other regions are that there is a major security problem often in that region, like during East Pakistan days, Hindus used to face persecution, and even after liberation and creation of Bangladesh, situation did not change much, though in the initial 2-3 years of the partition, things were little different and things were easy for Hindus, but subsequently once the military took over in that country, then once again problems started for them.
See, the Jamaat-e-Islami in Bangladesh, it functions like a corporate entity. It gets international financing, it gets terror financing, it runs educational institutions, it runs hospitals, somewhat like the Jamaat-ud-Dawa in Pakistan. And now the Jamaat-e-Islami also has support from the BNP. What is it, why is it that the BNP doesn't break away from the Jamaat? Is it necessary for the BNP to continue with this linkage for electoral purposes, for its sheer survival? Political survival, I mean.
Actually, it may not be essential, but it serves an important purpose. Like BNP is center-right political party, and Jamaat-e-Islami is outright Islamist party. So there is a big common area between them.
But it's not just just a rightist party. It's got terror links. Isn't that something which negates the very purpose of being in a democracy for for the Jamaat? For the BNP, I mean.
Yeah, it is actually it is founder head of all terror organizations in that country. But the political goals overcomes everything. So they are basically their terror links and rightist orientation and Islamist orientation is generally ignored by BNP for political benefits, because Jamaat has, it gets 5 to 7% of the votes in that country.
And that hasn't changed in spite of, emancipation of the younger lot of Bangladeshis who've had exposure to Western education. In spite of that, you think that the Jamaat votes have not gone down, the percentage?
No, Jamaat's vote is constant. Like Jamaat has its share of votes. Like
in spite of it not being allowed to participate in the election, you feel that they will be able to garner that 8 to 9%.
Well, if Jamaat is not like Jamaat has been deregistered, election commission says that it has been because it believes in rule of Allah, etc., and doesn't believe in democratic norms. So for that reason, it has been deregistered. But Jamaat is still trying to regain its registration. But even if Jamaat is not allowed to participate in election, its alliance with BNP is very clear, and so the votes it gets will go to BNP.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an alliance which will be there in spite of the election commission striking down their registration. Now tell me, if the BNP comes to power 2014, once the elections happen, what is going to be the status of the minorities, the Hindus as well as the Buddhists, under BNP rule? Does it mean that the freedom that minorities have had, relative freedom that the minorities have had to practice and profess their religion, is that going to be curtailed if the BNP comes to power?
Actually, their freedom or ability to profess their religion does not go down. What happens is that tremendous security problems are created. Actually, what happens if BNP wins election? So after election, they go to minority areas. They they demolish their houses. They arson they resort to, and as a result, what happens, because it's a way of celebrating victory in election. You go to minority areas and target their homes, houses. So it's a way of celebrating victory for them. And when they lose election, suppose by any chance BNP loses election, then their Qadars and Jamaat people will once again go to minority areas and
so either way minorities lose.
Commit atrocity on them. Now this time the reason is different. They say that these are the people who did not vote for us, so as a result we lost election, so again they should be targeted.
Okay, what happens to the majority population under BNP? Right now under Awami League, there's been so much of Western education, the economy is doing well, but the BNP believes in radical Islam. Now, does that mean that the Bangladeshi or the Bengali kind of culture that will get subsumed and under the Islamist culture? I mean, they celebrate the Spring Festival, women wear bindis, they go to work. All that will change, isn't it, if it's the BNP Jamaat grouping that comes to power?
Actually, let me tell you a few things, that the society in Bangladesh has been under transition now. No longer women in Bangladesh wear bindis or sindhus, because over a period of time Islamization has been taking place in that society, and things are actually changing. So it's a society, but under tremendous pressure from the radicals, and Awami League though tried to contain this movement of society towards radicalism, and to a great extent they have been successful. But BNP actually the whole lot of BNP is not radical. BNP is a actually disparate group, in which you have some radical people, some moderate people.
Obviously, the voice of the moderates
Yeah.
has not been strong enough. Otherwise, they would have broken links with the Jamaat.
Yeah, and even during present times, like there is as you rightly said, education is spreading in that society, and economy is doing very well of Bangladesh, and they, for the first time they had no trade deficit. Actually, they have trade surplus last year, about $2 to $3 billion. They have a trade surplus, which is for a country like Bangladesh, it's a huge achievement. But all that actually has not been reflected into the political change coming to that country. If you remember, Shahbag movement took place in that country, and Shahbag movement, it was a movement by certain progressive people, to give due punishment to the war criminals. But at the same time, radical elements in that country, they managed to stir up a parallel movement in that country, led by Hifazat-e-Islam, which is I would say it's just another wing of Jamaat-e-Islami.
It's a kind of a conglomeration of these right-wing groups.
So these people, they managed to get more importance, more attention than the Shahbag people, and as a result, today the situation is very different.
But it's like Sheikh Hasina. She has actually rebuilt the Buddhist temples which were vandalized. In 1 year, the Buddhist temples which were vandalized have been rebuilt. I mean, I don't see that kind of a parallel anywhere in the Muslim world. Where look at what happened in Afghanistan, look what's happened in Pakistan, even in India, a place of religious worship, once it's broken down, rarely is rebuilt. Whereas she's done that in 1 year. Despite that, somewhere, there seems to be the Western media doesn't even reflect that that she's done such good work. Why is that happening? Why is it that countries are not recognizing that here is a revolutionary leader who has completely changed the way a Muslim majority country has embraced democracy?
Yes, you are right. Like it's a very good gesture of Sheikh Hasina towards the minorities. She has rebuilt 12 temples out of 20 which were demolished last September. It's just 1 year, and in a year's time she has managed to do that. But still, what I would like to point out here is that though it's a gesture on the part of Sheikh Hasina, but the minorities, if you talk to them, they still feel completely insecure in that country, and they say, okay, these temples are fine, but you have not done too much to make us more secure in this country. So they are demanding special administrative units in that area. So these are the things. Like Sheikh Hasina personally, she may be a very secular progressive leader, but unfortunately not everybody in Bangladesh has the same sentiment, and there is a significant section which is extremist and radical.
All right. And do you see that she will be, if she comes to power, she will be able to continue with the war crimes trial, and she will be able to continue with retaining the secular fabric of Bangladesh?
She has already done too many things to actually make progress towards that objective, and though she has declared that Islam will be retained as a state religion of that country, but otherwise she has given several things to minorities, and minorities are generally feeling safe during her tenure, and but unfortunately as of now, what seems in Bangladesh is that the society is completely divided, and one cannot be very sure that Sheikh Hasina is going to come back to power. So if she wants to achieve her objective of punishing war criminals and giving them their due, then I think she has to do it before the end of this term. She cannot fully depend that she will get immediately after this another term, and if she does not, then all the effort and all the sacrifices she has made to get war criminals prosecuted and punished will come to a void.
No, in Bangladesh, women have been quite in the forefront of the social movements out there. Do you think that they are giving their support to Sheikh Hasina in this drive towards retaining the secular fabric of Bangladesh?
Yes, women are very important constituent of Bangladesh politics, and women play a major role in ready-made garment of industry of that country, and in many cases women are breadwinners of the family. So as a result, women play very important political role in that country, and women in general are concerned about Jamaat and its politics, and women,
because that's a regressive kind of rule that they want to bring, the
yes,
Jamaat and all.
yes.
I mean, they don't believe in education for women.
Yeah.
They believe in hijab and burqa. They believe in all those things which Bangladeshi women have not been accustomed to.
More than anything, what women are concerned is that Jamaat people are against their working side by side with men in factories. So that makes them more concerned, because in ready-made garments 80% of the workforce is women.
Okay.
So they are really concerned about the Jamaat politics and Jamaat coming to power.
Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.